Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written, no longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. Case, we break the cage. Dog by dog, we shift the stage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently. We'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.
Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Woo! Fair game for the public to hear. What do you all think about that? We are here, our first ever moderators. I'm going to say mind readers.
That too.
Moderators here today. I'm waiting for one more individual. Hopefully he'll log back in and then we can kind of get started, but we're going to keep it like really on the download today, kind of a little fresh, and I wanted to welcome everyone in. And if you've never heard or seen Les, this is Les, one of my very first mods in Phoenix Talk. So we are so thrilled that you guys are here today. I am going to put the comments on the screen. We're waiting for Caleb, like I said. Amanda did have other commitments, so she will be in our chat moderating you. We got all that covered. And let me just welcome every single one of you in. Critic Rick, I know you're here quite early. You get one of those little award certificates for always being studious and on time. So, Dina, welcome in. I know you were a little bit early too, and you guys are now in competition with each other to get here as fast as you can. And they can't wait. Caleb, I know you're coming back in. Critic Rick, Lulu Bell, good to see you today. Hope you are well and your internet keeps cutting out on you. Well, let's just send it some good juju and hopefully it will all be okay. Terry says, hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. Let's see. Thumper Rabbit Hole Phoenix, I'm so happy to be a part of your first roundtable. Well, thanks for
Aw.
being here. I know, Les, you excited?
So excited.
Fantastic. Marissa, welcome in the house. I did answer your email. And Amanda, I see you're here today. Welcome in. Cat's Girl, look at you go. We've got a lot of OGs in the house. We've got other people coming in. Do me one huge, quick favor. Just hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate that. All this free information, all this free content you're getting, all these amazing, beautiful voices and their mindsets and what they think of, they deserve a thumbs up also. So just hit the thumbs up. We appreciate it. Uh, oh my Fox Exo Brie.
That's
Love Brie.
baby.
I said, oh, I
That's
wondered because
baby.
I thought so. I saw her picture. Thank you for that, Les.
You're
I
welcome.
jumped in early, scrolled up to see if I missed anything juicy. Not yet. Good thing I did because I see the slander and defamation upon my good name. What? No, no, not here. Not here. Not allowed.
Mm-mm.
Not allowed. Let's see who else is in the house. So many new people. Molly, welcome in. Is that Monique? Monique, welcome in. Don't forget to hit that button. Wicca Wicca Blank Shady's in the house. Love that name.
Wicca
Be right
wicca.
back. Caleb says again, he'll be right back. I forgot I can watch this on my TV. Yes, you can, especially if you're on your phone, your iPad, your Android
Oh,
device. Connect that to your YouTube and you can watch it on TV. Let's see. So while we're waiting for Caleb, he'll come up whenever. Oh, she said in public. Holy moly, not good. Document, document is all I have to say about that. Les, you are so beautiful, says Carrie.
oh, thank you. Thank you very
Karen,
much.
good to see ya. Beautiful group. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Somebody said got a little gangsta on you. Okay, so let's do this. We're not going to start with the video today. We're just going to get right into it because I have got a ton of questions in this roundtable. We're just going to talk real candid. You're going to get to know the mods. And like I said, Amanda had a
Mm-hmm.
previous engagement. Les is here and Caleb is trying to log back in. So, Les, let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
what drew you like what first drew your attention to the Idaho 4 case?
I just remember I had been digging deep into the Kylie Rodney thing, and then I had just gotten like really frustrated with it, and because nothing was going to happen, and I was telling my husband, as I do about all my true crime cases, I'm like, I just can't believe nothing came of this. And he goes, oh, there will be another case. And I said, well, I hope not. And then like later that day, I'm like cleaning my bathroom, I have my YouTube in the background, and I hear somebody talking about this new case in Idaho. And my first thought, honestly, I heard it, and not only was it terrible, but my first question was, how did somebody get in there and kill all four of them by themselves? That was my first question. It never made sense to me. So that's how I got interested.
Yeah, I would probably have to say the same for me when it first released. I
Hmm.
was like, oh my gosh, I have kids that are college age. I couldn't imagine what these parents are going through because, we trust them to be somewhere at a certain place and obey and be safe. And then this happens. Um, and of
I
course,
mean,
knowing FBI statistics, it's kind of scary. Definitely scary.
I was thinking about that too. I mean, it's been several years, but I mean, when I sent my son off to, he went to KU, which was 3 hours away. And it was hard for me dropping him off at the dorm, and, it was just I was heartbroken, and I remember feeling that and then thinking, "Oh my gosh," like, I can't imagine if that had happened to him.
Yeah, Les, I think a lot of people are agreeing with you, and they're actually putting up some great comments, and I'll kind of comment on some of them. You can comment too.
I can't
Um,
see them. I don't
yeah.
know how to switch
Oh,
without
hold on a
losing
minute.
Yeah.
You should be able to. Hold on. Let me just make sure. You should be able to see them on the screen, but if not, that's okay.
I can see them
I'll
if you
just
put them up, but I can't see them going down.
Okay, got it. And now, as information started coming out about the case more and more, there were some things that were just absolutely shocking. Like Molly's comment, the long wait
Hmm.
to call the cops and no one acted like it bothered them.
Yeah. When I found out that the crime supposedly happened between 3 and 4, and it wasn't, I mean, bomb, just like, what? You just can't comprehend that.
Well, I think the most difficult part for me was not just the delay in calling 911, but how could somebody be in the same house while this was going on, while you're hiding or scared or
Hmm.
whatnot on your phone without calling 911 when you have access to your phone to send messages to other people? Hey, I think something's going on in our house. Can you call 911 for me? Can you
Hmm.
send the police to our house? You know, they had access to apps and their phones, and they were calling the people inside the house who were in the most danger. Hello?
I mean, and they're so worried about him, but they didn't go check on him. But then again, it was like, it was nothing big. My question was, they were, obviously Snapchatting and texting and things like that. And didn't somebody at around 5 a.m. text Dylan and say, "Do you need us to pick you up?" Who
Right.
was that?
I
I don't remember
believe
who
it
it
was
was.
Jenna McClure. Now, I'm glad you bring that
Yeah.
up because I went through these documents one more time. I looked at my notes last night. Things are starting to fall in place. The gaps are starting to close. The information is so overwhelming that
Hmm.
let me share with you a thought that I had in looking at some more documents. Now, get this. Now, I just want to say the forensic piece of what we're watching and people are talking about, and the part that I shared yesterday with the latent print on a metal nightstand in Xana's room.
Hmm.
Now, it's a footprint, and it's not like this person had shoes on. It is
Hmm.
the bottom of the Templar palm of a foot, and it was on the nightstand in blood. Okay, it's not like somebody had their shoes on and they brushed up against, because, you know, that's not going to create a footprint on a nightstand. But if this individual did, in fact, have no shoes on, it was either somebody inside the house or that they took their shoes off going upstairs or was already in the house, in my humble opinion.
Hmm.
Now, knowing
What?
that
Mm-hmm.
information, it's a footprint. They wanted more. They wanted more information. They wanted Brian Kohberger's footprint to match it against that. But they never requested they go and get that information. They stopped. They stopped investigating who that footprint could be. And I have a feeling, in my humble opinion, they stopped it because I think they knew the answers they were going to get.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I really want to know. Everything that they stopped investigating,
Mm-hmm.
why? Is it because the FBI told them, didn't they tell them to stop and that they had their person?
Oh, I don't know if they told him
I
to
I don't know
stop.
either. That's what I was wondering. Like, what made them just stop? Because I
I
believe in the
don't.
beginning they were doing an investigation for real.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Um, Let me drop Caleb this link real quick because he says he can't get in. So let me send this link one more time. Hold on.
Okay.
Here it
I can see
is.
comments now. I'm watching it on my TV.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay, let me just answer him in this. So what's interesting is after looking at Caleb, if you can hear me, I just sent the link one more time. After looking at some more documents last night, something became very apparent. And
Okay.
after Bethany's interview, she said that Jenna was basically moved in, right? She was
Right.
gonna move in, got her stuff there, was staying there. And something triggered me to remember that even though she said that, and they still had some people over there that night watching, Vampire Diaries and this and that. I think, Caleb, are you there? Hold on. Let me see if I can bring him up real quick. Hey, Caleb, welcome in. I'm going to add you on stage. Everyone, this is Caleb. Is it Lee or Lai?
Lee.
Lee. Okay, welcome in,
Hi,
Caleb.
Caleb.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so
I'm
we were
saying
just
hi to the people
talking.
in the chat too. Hi.
Hey.
Thank you, Grammy T.
Oh, I love it. And you can read the chat if you are on it's in little print on the right side. So just in case, and I'll highlight some comments too, but we were just talking about Jenna M. So after Bethany's interview, I wrote these notes down. If Jenna M was all about moved in into 1122, and I think somebody has got, let me mute these mics real quick. And Dylan ran down to Bethany. Okay, that's the story we've been given. But what if Bethany saw, hold on.
Why is it so dark?
If Bethany saw the sparkler and she ran, let's just say she ran to Jenna's room, the spare room, the office room, and was Jenna, maybe Jenna was not there, right? But isn't that the room where they found the jacket and the blanket? Les? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good, Caleb?
I'm getting situated now.
Okay.
How do I look? Is it good? Is it okay?
Yeah, you're good. You look good. You look great.
Yeah.
So if the blanket and the jacket were in the room, and let's just say that I'm going to mute you for a minute while you get set up. If Dylan ran downstairs to Bethany's, but Bethany's room was all in shambles and it looked like they had ransacked it. What
Mm-hmm.
if Bethany and Dylan were in the room where Jenna was saying she was going to move in? Okay.
Yes.
And that would explain Dylan running down to the office and Bethany's room being emptied and ransacked. Because if Bethany ran to the other room and locked the door, I think Bethany's room was a point of entry. And that would give her the reason to run out of her room. Okay. But then if the timeline we know is absolutely wrong, we know it's wrong. But if they called Jenna and Jenna said, I'll be over to pick you up, and Dylan and Bethany got in Jenna's car when all this was going on, that would explain why they didn't hear it. They may not have been there. They came back and it all got shady. In my humble opinion, that's just something that I was thinking about. And that was more logical than the other. They didn't hear anything. They might have not even been there.
My question, and can you hear me now? Am I
Yeah.
on? Okay, my question is, if they left, which I do think it's very probable that they did, why not just tell the cops that they left because of some other reason, and they came home to find their friends dead later because of all the texting, maybe, and they could tell. I mean, they know where they were if they looked at their phones.
Well, remember the officer in the interview that we've seen over the last couple of days, I think it was Gooch that said there's a large gap on Dylan's phone.
And that's
And
why they had to take it and do extraction on it?
correct.
Okay,
Correct. And I think
gotcha.
those girls got scared, left, and ran off.
Isn't there a text, I think we went over it, or maybe Birdie did at some point. I don't remember, but where Steve said there's a text from Dylan to Bethany or from Bethany to Dylan saying it sounds like they're getting killed. It sounds like
Did,
somebody's killing them.
yeah,
So,
allegedly there is one running around out there.
yeah, and it's not the first time I had seen that. I just forgotten about it over the last couple of years. But yeah, he was really mad about that, so he was questioning them. So could it be that after those texts, about sounds like really bad up there, they got up and left, because
Yeah,
they're
and
selfish.
well, I mean, remember in a scary movie, in Scream, whatever, you hear somebody scream and then immediately everybody else screams and runs.
Mm-hmm.
And in my humble opinion, that's exactly what could have happened.
It could have, but I still think, and I don't want to do all the talking, believe me, but I still think I think that Dylan let them in, whoever it was, or she told them when to come. I don't know what that new phone contact was right before then and everything. I just believe she knew people were coming in for whatever reason. Caleb,
Yes.
what do you
What do you
think?
think?
I I just got in. So what
Okay.
what are we
We're
talking
just
about?
talking about no whether or not you think that the Dylan and Bethany left the house in when the murders were in progress.
Yes. I I believe they weren't present because that would give them plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, even if they weren't there, the police still had to create a certain narrative to protect the
Mm-hmm.
university and the
Mm-hmm.
Greek life. Okay. And yeah, she wasn't really upset. And listening to Dylan's interviews about Kaylee, because see, they talked to Dylan like they were only talking about Kaylee. And I don't know if anybody picked up on it.
I
The
did.
investigators were asking questions more about Kaylee than anyone else. And I just
Sure.
thought that was kind of odd. So I've got a question for you, Caleb. What first drew your attention to the Idaho 4 case?
It happened live. It happened live when I believe in the Kylie Rodney case. The story broke live.
That's
Yes.
what I was just talking about. I was just telling Phoenix that I found out during listening to the Kylie Rodney. Yeah. We remember.
And so it drew your attention. I mean, for me, I was shocked, right? College kids, I couldn't imagine what their parents were going through. That was like a reflection for me, like I had college kids that age. So, are you both true crime fans?
I didn't know that YouTube had true crime creators, and I don't even remember how I came across it. It was definitely on accident, but it was right when the Kylie Rodney stuff started happening, and that's where I met Caleb online. I say met, and
Oh,
we've been knowing each other around the YouTube streets for a couple of years since Kylie. So that's where I was like, "Oh, Caleb's back." But yeah,
Yes.
that
Same
was my
same
first
story.
case getting into. Yeah.
Yeah. Kylie Rodney was the first case.
Mhm.
oh yeah. Okay, so Wicca Wicca Blank Shady says, I can hear a girl screaming at 3 to 4 a.m. right when it plays. It's inside the house. It's inside the noise. But I think maybe she meant house. I'm not sure.
Not
But
sure.
I don't know if that's the Linda Lane footage she's referring to or the Statesman release of the video. Um, and then, you know, in my humble opinion, with staying with the narrative that the college and the MPD and they had to keep it, you know, with the narrative going that Brian Kohberger was the only lone suspect and he did it. We hear other things like people not the Moscow Police Department not putting booties or gloves on and
Yeah.
walking all around the crime scene. I think, in my humble opinion, it was to contaminate the crime scene to keep the narrative and the college protected. in my humble opinion. What are your thoughts?
Caleb,
Yes.
what are your thoughts? Well, yeah,
I
the lack of professionalism was crazy. But yeah.
I I believe I made my decision today. In somebody's comments, I wrote to them that it was Birdie. Matter of fact, in one of his short videos, I am now convinced that uh, this was a localized event. Basically, yeah, it was localized.
And
What
what do
does
you
that mean?
mean when you say localized?
Well, it probably was it basically the crime of passion theory. I'm pretty much positive that it's like 97% now.
Yeah.
I kind of and all the other stuff that is in between, like everybody's talking about this, that, and the third, the witness, and this, and all the the D rugs and all that. It had it's more white rabbits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would
So
agree.
yeah.
Les, would you agree?
Yeah, I was so deep into that theory of the Aryan Knights, and I can understand why people would see the connections there, but it wasn't until I started getting into the documents myself, listening to what you had to say, looking for myself, that I started to see that, in my opinion, that's not a motive. That's not what happened.
Right. And I mean, in my humble opinion, I'll go by the FBI statistics all day long, that it
Mm-hmm.
had to been an acquaintance, somebody within
Mm-hmm.
the circle. And when you start looking at the players, you can eliminate one by what we know. But the information that I've learned over the last few days in the forensics part of it, and I've got some hidden gems for you. We'll talk about that later. But, you know, there still remain unanswered questions between 2:45 a.m. and 5 a.m. And if you had one question to ask the chat and to learn more what they think, kind of feedback as a collective, what would be the question that you would want to ask the chat between 2:45 and 5 a.m.? So one of my questions would be, at what time do you actually believe this attack took place? This, I call it an ambush.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the comments to see what people are saying.
Yeah, let's see a couple of them roll in. Because if you had to ask the question to the moderators between
Okay.
2:45 and 5 a.m., what's the question that you would want to know between those two frames? What time did Ethan and Xana get home? When did they get home?
Do you want me to answer those questions, or are we waiting to hear from what the chat wants to know? That's where I'm confused.
Yeah, I mean, those are
Oh,
some
I
great
see.
questions.
Okay.
When did Ethan and Xana get home? What are your thoughts?
I think they probably got home around 2, or no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say like 1:30. But then you've said that there's a picture of Xana playing a guitar at 2. I've not seen that picture,
Me neither.
so I have no idea.
Yeah. I would say probably, I don't think they walked through the front door, in my humble opinion. I just don't think so.
You think they were brought in by the
Yeah,
after the Fight Club and stuff, or
I think
after
so.
Linda Lane? Okay. And
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like it. Definitely sounds like it.
yeah, I
But
think
what
so.
about the investigator who said that they had been killed at the exact same time?
I don't, I mean, that's part of the narrative to keep everybody thinking all four died at the same time. I just don't believe that timeline. I
Gotcha.
think it's almost, I mean, you have to question the unthinkable. Was this two separate events? I believe it was. Um, I mean, Caleb, what time do you think Xana and Ethan came home?
There's no indication that they ever came home.
Right.
Of their
Yeah,
own accord.
right, right. Yeah, because I mean, Bethany, I think it was Dylan in last night's, um, she had said to the investigators, I make a note of this one, it said that I think the killer knew that everybody was home at a certain time.
Hmm.
And that always sat wrong with me since I heard that. I think it was 2 days ago. I played it last night. So it was 2 days ago that I listened to it for the first time. And I wrote it down thinking, how did the killer know everyone was home at a certain time?
Dylan. Honestly, yeah.
That was kind of a giveaway for me, was she let somebody know they were all home at the same time. Maybe, in my humble opinion.
Hmm.
It is possible. Definitely is possible. Um, Here's Nash Guy T, Nash Tennessee guy. He says, when did Maddie and Kaylee for real get home? I think that's still between the 2:45 and magic
2:45.
5 a.m.
Two,
question.
yeah, I don't know. And if Olivia has seen this video of them being dropped off, where is it?
Yeah, yeah. I've still waited to see this video, allegedly, that they were dropped off, because Eric Gower doesn't even say where he drops them off at. He was afraid to go in that community of getting robbed. I think because of the 500 Queen Road apartments, there are a lot of sketchy people in there. I'm kind of thinking that maybe that was one of the reasons, but he doesn't specifically say he drops them off at the front of the house. Maybe he dropped him off at Taylor because he refused to go into the subdivision. Don't know, but it's more than likely they had to walk through that little walkway up from the Whites
Hmm.
into 1122, in my humble
Yeah,
opinion.
didn't he say from the very beginning, like his first interview was like, I didn't want to drive up to the house because everybody knows it's a party house, a drug house. And
Yeah,
that to me, that was the first time I ever heard the drug theory. That was the first time I heard it mentioned, was
yeah.
from him.
Okay, so Wicca Blank Shady says the footage of them arriving does not exist. Well, here was my thought on this, and I want to see, Caleb, I know you're pretty methodical. If the footage of them doesn't exist, and Gower, they already checked him out to see if he was legit in dropping them off, he was off duty. Now, they would have no footage of that 1112 footage of Eric Gower's car coming in if he dropped him over off at Taylor. So if the footage doesn't exist, then our theory with dropping them off at Taylor and they had to walk up, maybe they were ambushed on the way up, or they were lured back out of the house after they got home. But since there is no footage, how would we ever know? It's just one of
Caleb,
those things that remain a mystery.
Yes.
what do you think?
Everything's is suspicious, and nothing's really off the table. However, the story doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No matter which way you try to put the puzzle together, it's like one of those it's a puzzle. It's a never ending maze, keeps on going around in a circle, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no definitive answer for everything, for anything. I mean, every detail that we've been told has like five different answers to it.
Yeah, there's no
They-
conclusive evidence other than, in all the forensic documents that we've gone over for the last week, is that nothing points to Kohberger, and all the data and all the DNA that we want to see where it goes in conclusive evidence, it's all hidden. They didn't
Yeah.
explore it.
Yes, that's the only thing that's been consistent, that Brian C. Kohberger is factually innocent.
Yeah, factually. And I made a video before, I went live sharing here, is that I said I would follow this case until I found the smoking gun, basically the proof that Kohberger is guilty, And all I found is all the evidence that shows he's factually innocent. And when you look at some of the documents that I have found inside of the forensic data, it is mind-blowing that while he was sitting in jail awaiting trial, the ISP was still doing the investigation and looking at suspects and trying to eliminate them way before all these things happened in court in 2025.
What was
So
it? Yeah.
they were actually, let me load the document. They were actually looking at documents, requesting DNA samples, looking at prints, and let me just give you the shocker here. There was one document that I found that matched up and aligned with the ISP. There is an ISP document that they go, and if you line it up by documents, if you've really read all these documents, I mean, not just skim through them, but really read and process them, there are forensic data that lines up with certain ISP documents that you can kind of see who they were leading to and where the investigation stopped. The investigation stopped in Boise. One of the last, did I die? Oh, one of the
I'm not hearing
last,
you.
uh,
Okay.
shoot, can you hear me now?
Yeah, went in and out.
Testing. Yeah.
Yes.
And it happens every time I get close. The
Every
closer I
single
get to this,
time.
everything kicks me out. It's crazy. Okay,
Do
so
do
one of
do.
yeah, I stepped into the twilight zone. So one of the last documents that was tested by the ISP was in 2024. So while he's sitting in jail, the ISP was still doing an ongoing investigation, y'all. It is freaking wild. And I'll do a whole live about that. But I just wanted to bring that up because the next question I have for both of you
Mm-hmm.
is why do you think law enforcement kept certain witness details sealed for so long?
Mm,
It's
yeah, Caleb, go ahead. I'm thinking.
it's the only reason why they would keep witness information sealed purportedly is they're either informants or they're just hiding it from the public so no
Mm,
one can supposedly harass them.
I think
yeah.
also the harassment, they wanted to protect these youngsters involved, you know.
What about the harassment? To me, it's more like an excuse. You know, it gives them more
Hmm.
of an excuse to hide information. Excuse me, seal information.
And that's, yeah, I don't understand the blurring
Yeah.
out their faces and redacting their interviews, and then again, other creator calls them youngsters still, and it's like, okay, we know they're adults, like, these kids, it's always these innocent kids. I hear it over and over. They were adults. They were living on their own.
I mean,
Work.
technically they're innocent. You know, the was it Fourth
Well,
Amendment,
yeah, and yeah, but
14th Amendment. Excuse me.
they're over 18, they're adults, they're blurring out their faces, I think, to protect them. So they can't say we've been harassed or targeted, or, I mean, all this is public information. So the people who actually know the insides and out of this case can put the pieces together and kind of draw your own conclusion, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and here's a really good point that Crossroad Accounting makes. They are hiding, but Bill Thompson said he would have to produce an eyewitness at one point shows the problem, because there really wasn't an eyewitness. And the eyewitnesses that were in the ISP documents proved that the two surviving roommates at about 2 a.m. left. I don't know if you guys have read those, but they were outside walking with a bunch of girls away from the house. And that was a bombshell moment when third-party witnesses that didn't even really know them saw these girls walking away from the house. So
Well,
that
then
gave
I
me the
thought they were
reason. Go ahead.
okay. That's new to me. I always, for some reason, in my mind, I always put it with, okay, Maddie and Bethany were walking Murphy. Like, I don't know why. I didn't look further into that myself.
Yeah, well, Dylan says they were all sitting up on the bed. And then yesterday, in her latest interview, she admits she wasn't upstairs with Bethany, Kaylee, and Maddie, that she went upstairs. So it was kind of like they were already up there, and then Dylan went up there, according to her at 2:10. So, I mean, there's just so many inconsistencies. So, let me ask you guys this. Do you believe the Door Dasher?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah, I would have to, it'd be a no for me. The neighbor reports that don't add up. The Door Dasher didn't add up for me. I think the Door Dasher was just thrown in there in the mix to say she saw Brian, in my humble
But
opinion.
did we hear say she saw Brian, or did she see some guy in like a tan car with red hair?
That's what she said in the statement that she made. But when she
Hmm.
stopped, it seemed like maybe she had some conversation, some coaching, allegedly. And then now all of a sudden, every time she gets stopped, she's the witness for the Idaho 4 murders with
Well, she's a
Brian.
friend of Bill Thompson's. um,
Yeah,
I I
don't
have a
forget that
question
one.
too. Don't let me forget. I have a question too.
Sure.
Now, okay, my question
The
was, so if there's, remember that when Kaylee ran upstairs, and it was at 4 o'clock, and she came downstairs saying somebody's here, okay? But if they were at home at 2 and they were in her room chilling on her bed, I if somebody was already in the house, they didn't see them at 2 o'clock. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't match to me.
Well, you got to keep the narrative. And I don't believe anything that Dylan has said. I just have to
Okay.
discount everything. If
Same.
you
Yeah.
discount her, and I think this was Anne's strategy, if you take Dylan out of the mix, discount her whole testimony because it's not credible, and you try to bring Bethany forward and get Bethany's statements, I think Bethany is a little bit more honest. I think we would have got more information. And I think that's why the pushback was in MPD to go with Dylan, because Dylan was more vocal. Dylan had no problem saying this and that. They were going to be, she was going to be the face of this case.
I would have loved to see Anne question her. I was so ready for that, but they weren't even okay. That I could go on a tangent. So go ahead.
Well, here's the point to the whole Jenna scenario for me. And I just thought about this when someone said this. Bethany's car was totaled just weeks before this. All right, keep that in mind. It was totaled. She did not have a vehicle. From my understanding, Dylan did not have a vehicle. Jenna was the only one that had a vehicle that could have come and picked them up.
Hmm.
But I don't know where Jenna was staying. Was she farther away?
Well, I mean, she was practically living there, right? Or did I get that confused?
No,
She's
she
practically
said
living
she
there. So
was
where?
practically moved in. So maybe
Yeah,
she was out somewhere else at another party.
yeah. Didn't she say she was at another party? That it
Yeah,
was her
she did.
party? Yeah, I don't know.
Over in
Yeah,
the treehouse.
the tree house, correct.
Excuse me.
I just
Who
find it
who
very odd.
who is Jenna?
Go ahead.
Jenna is the young lady that was interviewed by the police department that said that she almost was in the process of moving in there, but it was so scary. She was sitting down with, I think it was Maori. Was it Maori that she sat down with?
I believe so.
And she gave testimony, and she basically said that she was going to move into the house. And this is Jenna, the one that Dylan or Bethany text. And Bethany even said that she heard a scream at 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. a different time, and her friend came and picked her up. And I was thinking Bethany is telling us what happened, but using another time. Another time, I heard a girl scream at 1 or 2 a.m., and my friend came and picked me up. I got out of there because I was scared.
Interesting.
And that's what my original thought went to. Same story, just a different day.
Mm-hmm. I
So
saw
that's
Tony's.
exact. She was with Kaylee and Maddie at the Corner Club, says Wicca Wicca. Interesting. That's the name that they redacted. So she got in the car with Eric Gower, and they dropped
That's
her
the
off,
other
but she
girl.
did not come home with them. She did not come home with them. I wonder if she was sent to follow them or keep tabs on them. Could be. Because Jenna was friends with Bethany and Dylan more than the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. Could
I
be,
was,
allegedly.
Tony Stevenson had a comment, and it makes a good point. We still haven't heard the exculpatory evidence that Bethany had.
Do you think she had any, Caleb?
Bethany, to until this day, there's nothing about her that says anything that she's like a shadow, like she was never there to me anyway, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy who interviewed her. Oh, Crossroads, thanks for becoming a new member. Appreciate it. Now, remember, the guy that was doing the third party investigations for the defense, Batoni, somebody just mentioned him, he thought she did because of the statements that didn't align with, obviously, maybe the grand jury or something to that effect. I think Bethany had information. If anybody was going to be the weakest link, it would have been Bethany.
May, may I make a little comparison?
Mm-hmm.
It's a real quick comparison. Yeah. It goes back to the Kylie Rodney case.
Mm-hmm.
You have Sammy, which acts like Dylan, and then you have Bethany acts like that other female. What was her name, Liz?
It wasn't close to Kylie. It was another K name, I think. I don't know. It's been like 3.5 years or something. I don't know.
Basically, Dylan is the bad girl.
It's Sammy Smith. She's Sammy Smith. If any of you followed the Kylie Rodney case, yeah.
Right.
Sammy Smith was the friend.
Just a little bit.
Right. Dylan is acting like the bad girl, and then Bethany is the good girl. They're kind of playing this like oh, maybe it's her, keep them guessing, like who has the information,
but never speaking out anywhere else,
yes.
Yeah, but what I found it odd is that Bethany lawyered up, Dylan lawyered up, and Bethany got her attorneys to squash the order for her to come back to Idaho and testify. So they flew down there to interview her.
Yeah.
They flew down there to interview her. But yet we see all these pictures of her on the lake in the summer of 2024. Like, she's not scared to go back to Idaho. She was just scared to go back legally.
And so
So if
He
she
had a
had information, what do you think it
Mhm.
was?
I don't know because we haven't heard the interview with the defense go to where she was and interview her?
Yeah.
We haven't heard
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, we did the other day. So we played the first part. That was them in Reno interviewing
Uh,
her with the Nevada State Police.
okay, but Anne was interviewing her?
No, no, Anne was
Um,
not there. It was her
oh,
attorney,
okay. Okay.
ISP, and the Nevada State
Okay.
Police.
Okay, now
Yeah.
I get it. For some reason, I had in my head the defense attorneys were actually going to go there. So, okay.
Yeah. So let me ask both of you this. This is in regards to kind of, you were talking about the other case, the Kylie case.
Rodney, yeah.
So what lessons could you take out of this case to kind of teach us about investigative transparency and public trust? Because a lot of influencers, a lot of true crimers are taking videos that have not been officially released. We don't know where these videos are coming from, and sharing these altered videos, making us believe a narrative. So, what would you say to people perhaps that have never followed a true crime case? What lessons in this case can teach us about the investigative transparency and that public trust?
For me, it's like when you start off telling lies and it's like obvious that you're lying, and you change your story so quickly as, as law enforcement, you lose my trust immediately. Like, you're supposed to be who we look to and who we depend on to keep us safe. And if we know we can't trust you to tell the truth, it's like you're useless to me or I'm scared of you. Nothing you say
Mm,
matters. Yeah. Or I
yeah,
just don't trust.
true.
Like, I'm scared of cops, honestly. Like, I don't trust any cops. I live in a small town, whatever. I know some dirty deeds that have been done, and I hate feeling that way. I want to look up to cops.
Yeah. I think, there's both sides. There's good and there's the good old boy club, right?
Mhm.
That's what I look at. There are some bad apples in the mix, and it's hard to determine which ones are because, in the whole court system, judges have immunity. In some cases, police do, and law enforcement. They can lie and deceive, to get their cases solved. And when they lie like this, it's kind of like this whole process, kind of like the Richard Allen case, right? Kind of like the Karen Reed case. There
Mhm.
are a lot of bad apple players in the mix, but we never really see true justice. But we just saw the other day some justice come for I can't
Sonia
think of her.
Massey?
Yes, her name just slipped my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, Sonia
You see
Massey.
some, yeah, true justice behind the scenes that were happening but weren't in the forefront in front of us, right? Because it was a shocker just to hear that he had been found guilty. I didn't even know they were in court over
Me
this.
neither. And then I was talking to somebody online who said in Illinois or is it Illinois that they don't live stream their trials. So I didn't even know it was going on yet because I wanted to watch that trial.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted this to go to trial. I was all ready to pack
Oh,
up and
we all
go,
did.
and yeah.
We all did.
What do you think, Caleb? How can we kind of learn from this to trust that investigative transparency? Because listen, I'm just going to throw it out there on the line. ISP got up in front of the news media, and MPD got up there and they basically said, "We've got nothing. We can't get him on stalking. We can't tie them together. There was no connection to any of these victims or the survivors." So what did we just watch for a few years? Was this, just to throw it in your face type of we're going to lie right to you in your face? Or they really didn't lie. It was the media that ran with this story and said whatever they wanted to say. So what do you think, Caleb?
Yes, for new people that are coming into this genre, which is, it's a reality. It's true crime is not for the faint of heart. Always do your research from the beginning, the middle, and in the end, and always look to individuals like yourself, Phoenix, that brings, or people that brings facts and evidence, and if they sound like they're doing their best to bring you the information because you don't have time to look at it, or to research it, try to support them as best you can, and help the community grow, to raise awareness.
Right, right. And this is a great question we have from the chat. So, chatters, if you have a question for any of the mods, drop it below. I'll pick a few. Let me give this question to Caleb. May I ask why they're just getting JD's fingerprints in 2025? I thought I read that recently. What are your thoughts?
It's all this evidence that's coming out now. Either they didn't have it, or they're just produced. It's like a choose your own adventure book, like make it up as you go kind of thing. That's what I'm beginning to believe.
Mm. Yeah, very, very much so. Les, you want to add a thought in there about that?
What was the question again? I was reading the comments. What was the question?
May I ask why they're just getting JD's fingerprints in 2025? I thought I read that recently.
You did. I don't know if I believe that either,
Mm,
because it
that's a
doesn't make
good point.
sense. I was
You
looking
know,
at somebody's. I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. You were looking at what?
Somebody, the comments are like streaming, so I can't go back. But it was like somebody put in the comments, maybe the stomping up the stairs and Kaylee screaming, "Someone's here." Maybe it was one of the killers or the killer going up the stairs, and Kaylee screaming, "Somebody's here," from up the upstairs.
Right.
Thought that was interesting. That could have been. I never thought about that.
Right. It could have been
Mhm.
up or down because she didn't specify what set of stairs. There's 1, 2, 3 set of stairs in there. The downstairs up to the second, and then the 2 going up all the way to the third, the landing and then up. So she never, I mean, that's why I say I don't put a lot of weight on what Dylan has said, because her story is all over the place. And remember, guys, she may be imagining it. She
Oh,
may, yeah,
she might have been
okay.
dreaming.
She wasn't sure if it was real or not. So
Yeah.
we'll leave it there. One of the things that I noted down for this round table was, how much time do you think you've spent research and following this case, Les?
Over 40 hours a week. For sure.
Caleb, what
That,
about?
yeah.
Go ahead, Les.
No, I was gonna say between that and my schoolwork, like I always tell you my brain is broken. So it's like I can't keep it all in there. That's why I
But you
forget a
have a
lot.
good memory. You have a great
Thanks.
memory for detail. You
Thanks.
definitely do. Now, Caleb, what about you? How many hours do you think that you've spent on average in following this case?
Well, investigative work, no, I kind of save that to when I have time. But I support individuals like yourself that brings the facts and real evidence that makes sense, and uh what is it, about 7 days a week, 7 days a week, you know 8 hours, I guess, maybe eight
Okay.
hours
What about the chat? How much time have you spent, let's just say on average, in this case? And you guys aren't going to believe me when I tell you that I
Hmm?
usually only spend about 3 hours here and there a day. That's it.
No, I believe you
I
because I
have a
know that
life.
you have a life and you don't want to listen to a bunch of rumors just like I don't. Like,
Yeah, I eliminate anything that doesn't give me, you know, actually information. So I don't listen to other creators. I look at the
Mm-mm.
documents, I look at the witness statements. I don't even really watch those shows that are giving you the narrative, because I want to see, without any other information, where my intuition takes me. And I think that's what um, a lot of people do, like Wicca Wicca. I research what I can. Thumper, 5 hours a day. Yeah, YouTube will pretty much tell you that you're on YT too much.
I
I don't know.
I get a lot of that. You were on 16 hours yesterday, and I'm like, no, I wasn't. What?
Yeah, this is a really good question from our new member. I was heartbroken at the plea. Why do you think, Les, why do you think BK pled?
I, I just, at first, when I heard he was gonna plead, my husband can tell you, I sobbed. I was like, and then I had to think about it, and then I heard him say he did it, and I said, he was threatened, or he knew the fix was in. When Hitler said, "I'm not going to let this third party evidence in," whatever. I said, that was his defense, and basically saying you can't use your defense. And he knew that the fix was in, and he was going to die, and it wasn't going to be drawn out because they were ready. They made a
Mm,
special room for him and everything. And I think he'd rather fight it post relief, because you can't help him if he's dead. So
right, right. Caleb, what about you?
Yeah. He was put in a corner. He had to make a decision.
Yeah.
So that's why he pled. But back to Bill Thompson, Bad Santa.
hmm
I'm really getting sick and tired of him saying, I think I posted it earlier, Brian's going to be in prison until he dies.
yeah.
Unbelievable, you know?
I hope not. I don't like to speak bad about certain things, but let's, as a nest, hope that that's not the case, because they were shocked that he called them out at their own game and took a plea deal. And
hmm
I think that Ann Taylor, because Bill Thompson's reaction to that the defendant is going to plead guilty to all 4 counts, 5 counts,
hmm
because at one time there was a filing and they were asking for 2 of those counts to be taken off the table.
hmm
And so I was like, which two? Kaylee and Maddie? And that made more sense to me, that they were asking for a reduction in the murder counts. Now, let me say this. When he took the plea deal, I knew right away it was to avoid the death penalty.
hmm
And I'm sure that Anne, in my humble opinion, sat down with with you know his whole team, with Miss M and Barla, and they all sat down and they said, look, we know we have a percentage, because she attached the study to the filing, that she knew that if they were going to go to trial, they had a really low favorable outcome. And she basically probably told him, look, I know you're factually innocent. I know they have nothing on you, but I can't, in good faith, go to trial knowing that you might have a lower outcome in litigation and lose your life and sit on death row. And so that is why they took the plea deal and could have the back end PCR. And I brought that study forward, and now everybody talks about it. The 95% plead
hmm
out, and they
hmm
are, a certain percentage, 20 up to 20%, are actually innocent, and
hmm
brought forward, the Innocent Project, the
hmm
Autism Innocent Project. I kind of had a feeling that's where they were headed, because if he files something in the federal courts that say, hey, my rights have been violated, my constitutional rights have been violated, I'm being held like a prisoner against my own free will for something I didn't do, then people will begin to notice.
Well,
But yeah.
and I forgot also, along with that, like again, Tony Stevenson, he put a comment that says, the way Hitler discounted the Ray. and called him a conspiracy theorist. And I think Ray, if he had been allowed to testify, would have put forth some very compelling evidence, and they were so scared of that.
Yeah, they had a duty to protect the university, to protect their system, their whatever X, Y, and Z system you want to put in front of system, whether it be the court system, the justice system, the Greek life system, the college system, the money making system, whatever you want to say. They had to protect Idaho, period. You know,
Do
they
you think
wanted to.
Ray is ever going to say what it was?
I
Or do
don't
you
think
think?
so. Just like I
Mm,
don't think we'll ever know what Bethany's, you know, evidence was that was going to exonerate Brian,
okay.
unfortunately. And
Yeah.
yeah, BK's PA attorney, you know, they'll be able to fight extradition until DP was off the table. But remember, I brought to you guys that the only prison in the whole United States that can help someone with autism that's incarcerated is in Pennsylvania. If you hadn't
Yeah.
seen that live, I did a whole live on
Hmm.
will he be transferred? Probably, maybe that was
Right.
part of the deal, I don't know, or transferred to somewhere else where he could serve out his sentence.
Speaking of that, where do you think Brian is now that he can't have a tablet and his parents are gone?
I've always said the minute he showed up in court with a tan, he was somewhere else. Now, I lived in Idaho. When they were having these hearings, I knew what the weather was like. So when I started seeing, you know, and then he's excused from the last hearing, I can understand. It was just a formality on the record. They've already agreed behind the scenes what was going to happen. I kind of got it in my head that maybe he's not incarcerated.
Hmm.
And what solidified the rest of that is just months before when I shared everyone the picture that was in the Ada County Jail after going to
Yeah,
Boise myself. I was
that was
like,
wild.
this is not Brian Kohberger. This is not him.
That was
So
wild.
something funky behind the scenes definitely was going on. What do you think, Caleb? Do you think, did you try to, I mean, communicate with him in any way?
No.
Okay. Yeah, there was a few of us, quite a bit of us that did
Hmm.
send support, sent commissary money and stamps and tried to email, but no one, and this is another little tidbit of information, no one was able to get any communications. No
That's
one.
that seems to be an issue in this case. Excuse me, another big issue that
Mhm.
usually inmates, no matter what disposition they're in, they're allowed to have contact with the outside world, purportedly.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we're just not seeing it. No interviews, no big story, no books, nothing at all, which really kind of makes me think they gave him a deal behind the scenes, in my humble opinion.
Because he could
So,
speak out to the world and blow up everything if he wanted to. I think he knows everything.
here's a good question. Since we haven't seen any books, any articles, any statements, nothing from him, no filing of appeal, no PCR yet. And I was thinking last night with this new movie coming out, I think some of the players are upset they didn't cast the real people, in my humble opinion, that they have
Hmm.
these actors and actresses they're losing out on revenue if
Money,
they
money,
didn't
money.
play the real people. If this case was turned into a huge movie, let's say not just for a documentary or a small,
Hmm.
let's just say for the big screen, right? I don't know how many people would go watch it, but if they did turn it into a big production movie, who do you think would have played Brett Payne, the lead investigator? I want the chat to drop some answers too. You want my answer? The little guy in the Game of Thrones? Just kidding.
Danny
I'm
DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Okay, a
Oh my
tiny
gosh.
human. Mini Me. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. The little
Mini
guy
Me.
from Mini
Yeah.
Me. Yeah. Yeah. Brian's
What do
in
you
J
think?
Block.
What do you
Yeah.
think about Jake Gyllenhaal looking all cracked out like he does sometimes in movies, playing Brian Kohberger?
Let me show you right before we got online. Let me
Hmm.
show you. Someone sent me Brian Kohberger's doppelganger. Y'all are not going to believe this, okay? Let me throw
Okay.
that up here. Listen to the way this guy talks and how he looks. Listen to this. Oh, hold on.
Posts about asking questions in job interviews, dates, social interactions to have a better flow to the conversation. But I go live every day for probably 2-3 hours of time. And today's live is going to be pretty much fully dedicated to this topic. So jump on in.
What do y'all think about that?
Bushy eyebrows.
They're not bushy enough.
So I just posted about
Oh.
4 posts about asking questions.
Here's his account. He's live now.
Job market, yeah, it is flooded. I think you lobotomized me last time, but like in a good way. I'm thinking clear about it. Wow.
Just
I mean,
minus the
I'm
nose.
glad. Yeah, John
Yeah.
Redmond.
The big eyes.
That they were constantly asked for coding
His
camps.
eyes
Yeah,
are really super
that's what happens. Look at what
No,
they do in
that's
countries
eagle
where they
eye.
have total authoritarian control. They make you
Jaw
learn
and
things that are
ears,
up and coming.
the hairline.
Would you be freaked out if someone in your live walked past you multiple times in a week? No? I mean, if they told me,
Okay.
hey, I walked
So
past you today,
that
I'd be like,
kind of
yo,
was
let's go grab a coffee.
his
I think
doppelganger.
That's
But
some
I thought
riveting
that was
conversation he was having. Just riveting.
yeah.
Have you
Job market.
did y'all
Interesting.
notice
You
that
could be a
his eyebrows
double.
are
What, Caleb?
he's really overusing his eyebrows. Remember?
Oh
His
yeah,
Okay.
to talk, yeah. No, she never mentioned eyebrows, DM. So did she ever mention eyebrows? I don't think so. I think, in my humble opinion, Pullman Police Department gave them his name and then they started using his characteristics to outline possibly what she saw.
Yes.
That was
On
for
the
the
first
narrative.
in the first 3 or 4 interviews, there was no mention of bushy eyebrows. They kept pushing it. Eyebrows, then bushy eyebrows, and then on the 6th last interview, she said it, bushy eyebrows.
Right.
I remember that.
Very, very true. It's been a wild ride. So let me do this. I've got one last question for you all, and then I'll turn it over to Les, and you can kind of give your closing remarks or something that you see in the chat you want to talk about. What do you think if I asked you the question of the forensics? How confident should the public be in forensic genealogy and STR DNA testing?
Caleb, you want to go first?
Sure. IgG, I really haven't heard anything about it until this case. You know, that the the deep, what's it called, the deep upsides and downsides to it. But purportedly it's made for cold cases, correct?
Correct.
However, in this particular case, it was used, abused, and misused to get what's it called? Get an answer to a problem that wasn't even solved.
Yeah, you're right. There was no concrete definitive answers in using the IgG because they got the wrong person. Unless they got the right person and didn't tell us.
What is it? CC Moore that is the forensic genealogist that started doing that, and I remember seeing her on some case before, and in her case, they got the right guy by using it. But
Right.
again, I thought it was for cold cases, and I definitely believe that they created Brian's DNA. They created it.
Right.
And I don't think the public should trust it. But of course, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, they did a great job," not knowing what it is.
Right. Well, did the analogy help that I explained about the
Yeah,
mess in the kitchen with the cake?
yeah,
Yes.
Because
definitely.
that's basically what they did. And yes, IGG, you still have that I for investigative that needs to be done because they pigeonholed him unless they were working a study, like we said at the beginning of all this, that they were actually researching to see if they could use IGD to solve cases because they gave them the DNA to author them on the 21st of November. This was by no means a cold case unless they were building a profile around somebody they wanted to target because they didn't want the real unalivers to be found, in
Mhm,
my humble opinion. But
mhm.
I do think that IgG is not should not be used for this purpose. And I don't feel confident at all as part of the public to be
Mm-mm.
using this type of DNA, especially the IgG and the STR and how they came up with that profile. I think that was probably the biggest, if not, you know, diving into public databases looking for a needle in a haystack. I don't think so.
There was no need for it. They had all the evidence they needed,
Absolutely.
and
And
there was none pointing to Brian.
it eventually there was nothing that led to them except for what the cake that they baked. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Now, Grammy T, thank you so much. Everybody show Grammy T some
Aw,
love. Grammy T,
thanks, Grammy.
Thank you.
this donation for myself and the mods is going to our FOIA request bucket. You guys, I have FOIA'd so much information. I have to pick and choose now which ones that I want to get. But I am still waiting on an update. I called on Friday on my ISP FOIA request for the sheath. Now, Moscow can't release any pictures, but I've asked for anything related to this sheath only because the forensic document came out that the sheath doesn't look like the same sheath. I was therefore emailed when I questioned it that it could have been from the chemicals used on the sheath that was sent to them and then taken a picture a little while later, a couple days, a week. The chemicals could have changed the color of the leather. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt since they are a legal authority in this case. But if anybody has any of the chemicals that they have applied to a sheath looking like that and wait a week, document it and take pictures because I'm no expert. That's not my wheelhouse, but I know somebody will be able to make that study happen. Now, does it shock any one of you with the last question that I have? And then we'll kind of wrap it up unless somebody drops an awesome question in the chat that I can't resist. But I do have beef stew on the stove, and my family can handle it while I'm busy. But let me ask you, did it shock either of you to learn that Emily Allant's bestie roommate not only was Xana, but Josie L., did it shock you to learn that she was getting her degree in criminology?
It did.
Yes.
Did the chat know all this prior to me sharing that the other day? I didn't know until I saw her own personal LinkedIn that verified this. And I was like, what? For those 8 hours, did someone clean this crime scene that was close to 1122 King Road? What are your thoughts? Do you think they had some inside help cleaning up this crime scene? And who, with that knowledge, would be able to provide that information if it was not Brian Kohberger. I mean, a lot of the people in the beginning of this thought he was the getaway driver, the cleanup crew. I mean, what were your thoughts, Les, when you heard that he may have been the cleanup guy or the getaway driver?
I thought he may have because I thought they had him out at the house. And then finding out later they can't put him at the house, that no, I don't believe he was ever there. But can I say something about
Yeah.
the criminal justice student? Is it Jenna, right? Or
No,
Emily? It was
it's
Emily.
Josie.
Josie. Okay. Remember when Dylan told the cops, was it Tesdall? I don't know. But she said, well, I don't know if you're going to find any DNA because, we just did a deep clean a week ago. Was she, knowing she had just done a deep clean, going to say, hey, it was a week ago? Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, the timeline for me is just kind of kludgy still because of the Chapin statement of the crash and that statement from Dylan and a couple of other things that may not line up with the timeline. Like, did it happen a week before? Did it happen, maybe the bodies were there overnight and Stacy is telling the truth mixed in with more truth? I don't know. But that kind of threw me for a loop too about the deep clean.
Yeah, because she couldn't explain to them that they had deep cleaned all night because she couldn't say that. So she's going to remember it was parents weekend the week before and be like, "Oh, we did that a week ago." And none of that makes sense as to why they wouldn't find DNA. So she's lying
Well,
somehow.
I was
Yeah.
shocked that she was really concerned with them finding anything.
Yeah.
She said, you're not going to find anything because we did a deep clean.
A week ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That was like the third interview, correct? Third or
Yeah,
second interview?
the third interview were on my
Third
notes.
interview.
But keep in mind, just the other day when we reviewed her interview on the 30th, she was concerned. Remember, she asked him the question, well, you can find DNA? Remember, she said something in regards to you can still find DNA. And she was like,
I don't remember that. I
No,
must
I
have been
don't.
typing in the chat. I don't remember.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
she
remember
did.
that.
She said something to that. And it kind of shocked me thinking she knew that they could find who did this.
We cleaned 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Cleaned 5 days ago. So the DNA.
Yeah, we cleaned 5 days ago, so the
Night.
DNA may be
That-
disturbed from
Which
that
doesn't make any
night.
sense. Yeah.
Which interview was that?
I think it was
The first one?
the first interview when she's sitting down.
Days ago.
No, it was when she was standing up outside, wasn't it?
I thought it was the first sit down interview.
Maybe it was the
Does
first
somebody
with,
know?
maybe. I'd have to look. Yeah, the bathrooms were spotless downstairs. Yeah, she was the only one. Yeah, you're right. I give props to Detective Gooch. She's like on fire. She was the only one that had questions and concerns regarding Dylan and her story. And she's an expert at what she does. She retired, the ISP brought her back. Someone's saying, I think it's interview 5. There was an interview with the FBI that we may never hear. I know that, I think that was probably 5. That weekend was that weekend is really odd too, because when did Xana's dad come over and fix whatever? Because there was a comment on the YT about Emily and Xana had a falling out. And I wasn't sure what it was over. And then somebody threw in a comment, yeah, Emily, why was Hunter going in Xana's room? And I thought, why would somebody put that as a comment? Was there some type of love gone wrong? Did anybody hear about that? Not saying that, bears any weight. We've seen enough rumors in this mess. But was
Yeah.
that maybe one of the things that people overlooked?
Could be.
Possible. We've seen some crazy stuff in this case for sure. So, Les, We'll round it up. We'll wind it down. We miss Amanda B. Hopefully you'll be able to jump on the next one. What are your overall thoughts on the Idaho 4 case where we stand today? Not like 6 weeks from now, but today.
I think that right now some people are starting to wake up, and I think there's starting to be a change. I mean, you still got the people who will never change their mind, and there's more people looking into this, and I just really my hope is that something good comes out of it and that they're exposed. You know, it's like it's not like it was in the 80s where all we had was the Channel 10 news or whatever, you know. So,
And Caleb, what are your thoughts about this case, the Idaho 4 case, up until now?
Well, I just wanted to share something with y'all
mhm,
that just happened in the Karen Reed case.
mhm.
I'm not
Yeah, I
100%
know.
sure, but basically, because of that case, there's 19 other cases that are affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And one of those cases sounds exactly like Brian's case. Okay? The way they treated that case, they would not let exculpatory evidence, be used. So
Which
they're
case is
looking
that, Caleb? Which
The
case is that?
Karen Reed?
No, it's another case. It's affected by Michael Proctor. Who is
uh,
it?
Oh,
yeah, Michael Proctor is the DA, correct?
No, he's the
no,
lead
he's,
investigator
yeah.
who
Okay,
got fired.
all right. But uh, uh, regardless, it's cases like like that's going to help break this case wide open, because you can only even though it's a cover up, this is 2025, and
Mhm.
so many people are hungry for the truth that eventually there's going to be individuals, and the truth movement is on the rise. So
Mhm.
they're even if we're not able to help Brian, at least Moscow, Idaho, let's pray and hope that they'll be exposed for the lack of transparency, or uh, their part in this, purported, cover up of what really happened.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
I just wish Brian had an Alan Jackson because as much as I love Anne, Hitler just stomped all over her. It would have been nice if he had had an Alan Jackson.
And Les, I just have to, to interject right there. I think Miss M is going to be that
You think
person
she's gonna?
for Brian
I hope
Kohberger.
so.
I talked to an appellate attorney last week. I think that Miss M may be that person.
Miss Massa,
She did
Massa.
not, yeah, she did not back down from Hitler the other day. She did not concede when he was pushing her. She pushed him to the point that, Your Honor, it is the law. You have to look into this before you make a ruling. And then he got
Mhm.
mad and said, oh, I'll rule, I'll get something back. I'll take it under advisement. He'll come back and give a ruling, and hopefully he will do the right thing from then on. But I don't think this is the last thing that we've seen. There's so
Mm-mm.
much more documents to come out, so much more information. I hope that they do not let this case fall through the cracks and more people speak up about this injustice now that we've seen a lot of the forensic side of this. And if this was, in fact, just a case to benchmark, DNA, social experiment or study or anything of that, I hope that more people have woken up to cases like this that do, uh, you know, make precedents in the court systems, because I don't think we've heard the last of this Brian Kohberger case. And it's sad because he is linked to these four forever. The families don't want to hear his name. Social medias or influencers are calling him by a number. And it's really sad that we've dehumanized somebody who is factually innocent.
And they get off on just insulting him all day long. I've never seen this with any other convicted killer. I've never seen anything like this. Like Alex Murdaugh, you can make fun of his date looks all day, but that doesn't happen. Like he's put away, it's gone. Nobody talks about him anymore. Really. I mean,
True. True. I mean, even some of these bigger cases that we've seen, Chris Watts, I mean, you got to look at this case and think, why did they send this DNA to Othram on the 21st? This doesn't make sense. And with that, I'm going to ask the chat to leave a lot of love for our mods. Les, you've been fantastic. Go ahead.
thanks. I have one thing to say. Phoenix doesn't like to ask, and I don't like to ask, and I know it's holiday time. But if you guys could just remember the website Justice for All, that's FOUR. I know Amanda will probably drop a link. It does cost money to keep that website going and for the FOIAs. So anytime
Yeah.
you can donate, send us, on a live, or if you want to go to the website and donate there, we would really appreciate it.
You were so sweet, Les. Absolutely.
Mm.
Caleb, what do you want to say in closing?
You read my mind. I just want to let you know, Phoenix, I've never shown my face before to the world.
Oh,
Like,
Caleb.
except maybe one time with A4J, but that live stream they striked it or something and it didn't work. But this is like basically my first premiere ever going live. I hope y'all really can't see my eyebrows
Oh
or
my
eyes.
gosh.
But I want to thank you, Phoenix, for all the great work that you do. And Les and Amanda, even Amanda, maybe she doesn't remember me, but we go back to the Kylie case too. So all three of us, it's what is it called? Destiny, I call it,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Destiny that we met again after all these years. So thank you. And
I
chat,
love that. I love that.
I just love your guys' minds, your thought process, the way we mesh together, how we bounce ideas off of each other. Caleb, I really appreciate you in the chat. I'm glad you came on as a mod. You have just been so amazing. You have such a good heart. Les, your passion to follow these cases, and you're like a walking Rolodex. If I need something, you're like, bam, I remember this. And
Amanda brings the new stuff. Yeah.
Amanda, shout out to you. You're a fantastic digger. I thought I was a digger, girl. You take the top dog.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate every single one of you that has either dropped anything in the chat today, like Grammy T, G Whizzical,
Mm-hmm.
shout out, and Crossroads Accounting and Tax for becoming a new member. If it's not for you guys, we wouldn't be continuing to get the information we do or spend the time that we do doing what we love to do, and that's bring you facts and evidence. So for all of us here at Phoenix Talks, all our beautiful mods, Amanda, Les, and Caleb, we thank you. I ask one thing, hit that thumbs up, share this stream with one person. That person will turn around and share it with one person. We can get the truth out there, and drop a lot of love and hearts in the bottom in the chat. We love you. Thank you, Rebecca. That is amazing.
Thank you.
That will go
Thank you,
good
Grammy
to
and
the
G
Rebecca.
Wiz. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you so much.
This
Gee
is
whiz,
a
thank you.
beautiful place to come in. You're accepted just the way you are, and I think you guys know that. I mean, look at us. We're not like the
Wow.
most beautiful.
Thanks,
I'm
Rebecca.
just we all are amazing. Our nest is amazing, and we wouldn't be who we are without the encouragement and the love from the nesters. So until next time, I'll be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. and at 3:45 I have a bunch of stuff to bring you that you don't want to miss. So peace out,
Looking
everyone.
forward to it. Good night, everybody. Bye,
See you
Good night.
Caleb.
later.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Thanks
Later,
for being here.
Phoenix, Les, Amanda.
Bye. Thanks, y'all.
Listen close, we rise up from the ashes, digging for the truth, breaking old habits. We marching with the nesters, they laid the foundation, passed down revelation, sparked our motivation in a world of facades. We peeling back the layers. Truth is the weapon that cuts through all the fakers. Phonets in our chest, reborn from deception. Eyes wide open, no room for misdirection. Every step we take, we honor the connection between past and present, forging our resurrection. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. We cultivate vision, planting seeds of awareness, challenge the narrative, break out of the harness, digging deep for knowledge, unearthing the hidden. Our minds are the soil where the future is written, no longer confined by the scripts they prescribe. We write our own story, let the real one subscribe. One voice becomes many, together we rally. Freedom's not a concept, it's a move and a tally. Case, we break the cage. Phoenix rises in truth, setting us free from the lies that they feed. We reclaim our beliefs, thinking differently, we'll break every chain. We dance for freedom, case by case, again. Rise up, speak out, watch the new world breathe.